So we continue with personnel practices today. We were talking about recruitment. In fact, we had just started talking about recruitment. Very important. The process of recruitment. What is the process of recruitment? We start off with job requisition. What does that mean? Different departments send their demands to a central agency that we require certain persons for these slots, for these kind of jobs. These are job requisitions. Along with the determination of qualifications and other conditions of recruitment policy, these are compiled together by the recruiting agency, and an announcement of vacant posts is made. And the announcement mentions that this is going to be through a competitive open exam. Extremely important. The cornerstone of the merit system. You've got to have open competitive exams, and the qualifications have to be clearly spelled out. Once this happens, people apply. And then, naturally, the applications have to be scrutinized. ये देखना है क्या सही लोगों ने apply किया है, उनकी qualifications, उनका residential status, उनके दूसरे aspects, क्या वो सब conditions fulfill हो रही, ये scrutiny आपने करनी. Scrutiny के बाद आ जाता है असल मसला कि आपने वो इम्तिहान conduct करना है. The open civil service exam has to be conducted. And we do know that a lot of students apply, a lot of candidates apply. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी एक्सरसाइज होती है, छोटी एक्सरसाइज नहीं होती. जब फेडरल पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन ख़ास तौर पे जो फेडरल ऑक्यूपेशनल ग्रुप्स हैं, फेडरली कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड हैं, उनमें बहुत लोग अप्लाई करते हैं. तो फेडरल सर्विस कमीशन का ही ये सारा काम है, एडवर्टाइज करना पाकिस्तान में, उसके बाद एग्जाम्स को कंडक्ट करना, स्टूडेंट्स को इनवाइट करना फॉर द एग्जाम्स आफ्टर स्क्रूटनी जो सूटेबल पाए जाएं. सो दिस इज नॉट अ स्मॉल एक्सरसाइज. अब आपने एग्जाम करा दिया या नंबर ऑफ एग्जाम्स करा दिए, because generally there will be a number of exams. After that, you are going to make a list of eligible candidates and send them to the competent authority. ये word बड़ा use होता है, competent authority. क्या होती है competent authority? In this case, competent authority वो है जिसने आपको अपॉइंट करना है in accordance with the rules. हर चीज की अपनी competent authority होती है. एक कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी वो है जो आपको छुट्टी दे सकती है. एक कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी है जो आपके ऊपर डिसिप्लिन करते हुए एक किस्म की पेनल्टी डाल सकती है, लेकिन उससे हायर पेनल्टी डालने के लिए परहैप्स एक डिफरेंट कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी हो. तो गोया अब आपने लिस्ट सबमिट कर दी कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी को. उसके बाद सिलेक्शन हो गया, एक खास प्रोसेस में से गुजर के फाइनल सिलेक्शन हो गया. पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन जो कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी है रिक्रूट करने की पाकिस्तान में, उसने एक फाइनल सिलेक्शन कर लिया. नाउ वन मेन पार्ट इज ओवर, देन यू गेट अपॉइंटेड, एंड आफ्टर appointment, the role of the civil service of Pakistan in our country finishes. You go on probation. कुछ अरसे के लिए आप कंफर्म नहीं होते, आप अपने महकमे में जाकर जो आपको मिला है जहां आप अपॉइंट हुए जाके काम करते हैं 6 महीना साल, वो ट्रायल है एक किस्म का, दे आर चेकिंग यू आउट, विल यू बी एबल टू मैनेज इट, इसको प्रोबेशन कहते हैं। इस दौरान आपकी सर्विसेज बर्खास्त भी की जा सकती है इफ यू आर नॉट फाउंड फिट। एंड आफ्टर प्रोबेशन, once you have completed successfully that probationary period, आपको प्लेस किया जाता है या आपकी प्लेसमेंट की जाती है अगेंस्ट अ पर्टिकुलर पोस्ट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट और दैट ग्रुप ऑफ सर्विस। उसके बाद आपकी ट्रेनिंग स्टार्ट होती है, जिसको आप ओरिएंटेशन ट्रेनिंग भी कहते हैं। इन अदर वर्ड्स, यू आर बीइंग acclimatized to the working of the department। एक अरसा आपको लगता है उसके लिए, इसको इन सर्विस ट्रेनिंग भी कहते हैं। यानी अगर आप पोस्टल सर्विस में गए हैं तो आपको बताया जा रहा है कि पोस्टल महकमा कैसे काम करता है, मुख्तलिफ लोगों की ड्यूटीज क्या है, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के, उनको कैसे मीट किया जाता है, स्ट्रक्चर क्या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, किसकी क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वगैरह वगैरह। दो किस्म के मेथड्स हैं, एक डायरेक्ट रिक्रूटमेंट का और एक इनडायरेक्ट रिक्रूटमेंट का। डायरेक्ट रिक्रूटमेंट में वी फिल अप पोस्ट फ्रॉम द ओपन मार्केट। ओपन मार्केट का मतलब है पूरी कंट्री, द होल कंट्री इज द मार्केट। कोई मुल्तान से पढ़ा हुआ है, कोई रहीम यार खान से पढ़ा हुआ है, कोई क्वेटा से पढ़ा हुआ है, कोई खुशदार से पढ़ा हुआ है, कोई पिशावर से, कोई मस्तूम से, पूरी कंट्री, नॉट जस्ट द अर्बन एरियाज, underdeveloped, all kind of areas, they are the basis of recruitment. They are the pool from which we are going to recruit. Or indirect recruitment refers to filling up of posts from candidates already in service. This is also called internal recruitment. And direct recruitment is also called external recruitment. So you are recruiting people who are already working in the organization but vying for higher posts. So you recruit them for a higher post generally. But the real thing we are talking about is the direct recruitment process. इसमें क्या होता है? इसके advantages क्या हैं? Provides equal opportunity. एग्जाम वही होना है, क्वालिफिकेशंस वही हैं, चाहे आप अंडर डेवलप्ड एरिया से हैं या डेवलप्ड एरिया से हैं. सो इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी टू ऑल एंड सन्ड्री, irrespective of caste, religion or race, or where you hail from. In fact, underdeveloped areas have an additional quota of seats in various groups. So, we are providing equal opportunity and, in a way, more than equal opportunity. And the direct recruitment system will definitely attract capable and qualified persons from the universities, which are our major pool for recruitment. And if any aggressive search has to be employed for recruitment, it is the universities which have to be targeted. Now this method of recruitment, how does this recruitment help us? This direct method of recruitment, it infuses new blood and fresh outlook, and hence stagnation is neutralized. But the direct recruitment method has its demerits also. And those are that in the beginning you are recruiting non-experienced persons who have a long way to go before they really become experienced and real professionals in the field. Whereas you might have got specialists in the field from outside who already have experience. It would have been cheaper to have them. And hence there would have not have been a requirement of a prolonged training. आपको बहुत लंबी और comprehensive training देनी पड़ती है all through the career of such civil servants जिनको आप directly recruit करते हैं. और इसमें एक और जो नेगेटिव बात है वो ये है कि जो लोग पहले लोअर पोस्ट पर काम कर रहे हैं और एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि वो प्रमोट होंगे, लेकिन आपने उस लेवल पर बजाय इनडायरेक्ट प्रमोशन करने के फ्रॉम विद इन डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं, लोगों को बाहर से रिक्रूट कर रहे हैं, तो वो लोग जो पहले विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम कर रहे हैं दे फील बैड अबाउट इट. एंड समटाइम्स there is a certain quota fixed for employees who are within the organization but working at a lower level, lower post, to come and join the people who have been directly recruited. But generally there still is bickering. Still there are complaints that the quota is not enough. And also in the long run, because you have to get promoted from one post to another, many a time, if you do not get promoted, you get demoralized. Even if you do not get promoted because of your own fault, still you get demoralized. This is human nature. Now, what qualifications are laid down or required for employees? The nature of qualifications for direct recruitment may include the citizenship or the civil status. Where do you belong? Are you from that country? Are you a born citizen? Are you a naturalized citizen? Are you just an alien? What is your civil status? What is your status in that country becomes very important. Because generally it is thought that people with other nationalities, if they come within the civil service of a particular country, they may work against the interests of that country. So there is always a citizenship qualification. And again, to narrow it down, you have the residence or the domicile qualification. We have the domicile qualification in Pakistan. As I said before, that persons originating from many places with different domiciles, that underdeveloped areas especially, do get special quotas and special treatment. The sex and age are other factors. In case of sex, some countries may have special quotas for females to improve the gender ratio in the administrative employees. Ages may vary from 18 to 25, generally 18 to 25, 18 to 28 or 18 to 45. 18 to 45 would refer generally to the US system, where we have this position classification system for specialists. Educational qualifications, there has to be a minimum education qualification. Almost all countries have it, except the US. Experience. You may or may not ask for experience, because mostly it's young graduates from the university who give a hand, who try the civil service examination without experience. So in our case, experience is not necessary. Technical knowledge. Sometimes, especially in the position classification system, technical knowledge is required. आगे पर्सनल क्वालिफिकेशंस की बात हो रही है, यानी कि वो ट्रेड्स जो कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारी सिविल सर्विसेज में कम से कमतर होते जा रहे हैं, लाइक इंटेग्रिटी, ऑनेस्टी, टैक्ट, faithfulness, the executive ability, energy to do work and all that. अब आप डिटर्मिन कैसे करेंगे कि किसकी क्या क्वालिफिकेशन है और किस हद तक वो क्वालिफाइड है? One way is that the appointing authority directly judges it. And that can be on the basis of interview or testimonies or qualifications and previous track record, experience, relevant experience. So the evaluation can be on the basis of qualifications, your track record and experience, or the more structured part, you can have a written examination. You can have certain ability tests. Your various abilities, like your management, your executive ability, can be checked. Your aptitude for a certain service can be checked. Will you make a good policeman? Do you have those traits or a personality required for a uniformed service? Or not? Achievement tests, how high you achieve certain scores, like the IQ level, for example, other achievements. Personality tests. Now, the traits come in which we had talked about. Do you have a positive attitude towards life, towards issues, towards problems? What kind of traits do you possess? What kind of a character do you have? Are you confused? Are you clear-headed? Do you have that streak of integrity and honesty? Performance tests. What's your efficiency? Are you good at problem solving? How can you perform under crisis? So these kind of tests will determine your performance. And of course, physical test is very straightforward. You take certain medical examinations or physical examinations, and the doctor gives a report. Now, the different systems of recruitment. The cadet system, perhaps one of the oldest ones. The recruitment is generally made at a young age, 16 से 20 साल की उम्र में. आपने देखा होगा हमारे यहाँ भी मिलिट्री के लिए खास तौर पे कमीशन ऑफिसर्स, जूनियर कमीशन ऑफिसर्स के लिए कैडेट कॉलेजेस अवेलेबल हैं, जिसमें there's a long period of education or training. Now this kind of thing, this kind of arrangement is very popular for defense-related jobs. Sometimes it's used for other services also, especially in Russia. It's been in vogue for many a service. Because as a cadet, at a young age, you start building up a mindset of the individual. And the process of developing the personality goes on, along with imparting of the educational qualifications. Then what is more relevant to us is the general mental ability system. In this case, you get a pool of people with very broad educational attainments and good mental abilities. दे मे बी ग्रेजुएट्स इन लिबरल आर्ट्स या साइंस के भी ग्रेजुएट्स हो सकते हैं, कोई भी बैकग्राउंड हो सकती है, लेकिन वेल राउंडेड है, एक्सपोज्ड हैं, ब्रॉड एजुकेशनल बेस है, जिससे बहुत सी ऑफशूट्स जब निकले तो वो समझ जाएंगे चीज़ों को, और उनका मेंटल एबिलिटी काफ़ी है। इस किस्म के सिस्टम में 21 प्लस के लोगों को हम लेके आते हैं और इसी कॉन्सेप्ट पे हमारी सिविल सर्विसेज पाकिस्तान की, इंडिया की, यूके की और कुछ यूरोपियन कंट्रीज की, खास तौर पे जहां जहां रैंक क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम अप्लाई करता है, वहां पे ये कॉन्सेप्ट पॉपुलर है। जैसे हम अपने यहां देखते हैं that we just need a graduate in second class in any discipline whatsoever to be eligible for taking the central, the open, competitive exam for the federal services of Pakistan. तो ये वही कॉन्सेप्ट है, वही फिलॉसफी है कि आप इतने बड़े पूल में से वो लोग जिन्होंने ग्रेजुएट किया है उनकी कंपटीशन करा रहे हैं। उससे आपको पता लग जाएगा कि हाउ गुड दे आर एज फार एज द ओवरऑल जनरल एजुकेशन इज कंसर्न्ड एंड ऑल्सो देयर मेंटल एबिलिटीज। Having looked at the recruitment systems, now we go to the subject of training. How are we going to train these inducted young employees and turn them into great civil servants? Now, a rather old report, Ascerton report in the UK, which came out in 1944, talked about certain aspects of the training program and what it should aim at, what kind of a development in the personality and qualifications of a person should take place in the civil service. We need a training program which produces, according to the report, a civil servant who can transact business with precision and clarity. No ambiguity, confused नहीं होना, क्लैरिटी के साथ सिविल सर्वेंट को डिसीजन मेकिंग करनी चाहिए, क्लैरिटी के साथ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अप्रोच करना चाहिए, नो डिली डैलिंग. Then it should attune the civil servant to the tasks he has to perform in a changing world. यहाँ फिर चेंज का कॉन्सेप्ट आ गया. Back in 1944 they realized the change the industrial revolution related change, later on the post-World War changes, then the economic booms, then the crises, and nowadays the technological change. So all these changes have to be appreciated by the civil servant to make the most of them and not let them have negative effect on the nation or the society. Another aspect was to make civil servants conscious to the danger of becoming mechanized robots. For God's sake, be human beings, not machines, the report said. हमें रोबोट्स नहीं चाहिए, हमें सिविल सर्वेंट्स चाहिए, मशीनें नहीं चाहिए. हमें वो लोग जिनका हार्ट हो, जिनका सोल हो, who are willing to serve, who are responsive, we need them. So it was expected that good training would impart this kind of emotional and very, very responsive attitudes in the civil servants. और आपने आगे चल के हायर वर्क करना है, हायर लेवल ऑफ वर्क करना है, उसके लिए भी आपको प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा. So you have to make civil servants, you have to develop the capacity in them for that higher level of work and responsibilities, which may be more difficult, more complicated, more sophisticated. And very important, somehow the training should be able to improve the morale, the integrity, and service orientation of civil servants. Service orientation. अगर आपका मोरल हाई है, अच्छा है, you have integrity, service orientation will become, I'm sure. आपने सर्व करना है मैसेज को. So you have to be public service oriented. Way back in 1944 they thought this was a problem, and even today this is a problem. Today perhaps we need even more and more emphasis on the kind of training that can provide public service orientation in our country. और लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट उन्होंने कहा कि ऐसी ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड की जाए जो कि विजन और आउटलुक सिविल सर्वेंट का ब्रॉडन कर दे. बिकॉज इट्स अ ग्लोबल विलेज नाउ, यू आर इंटरैक्टिंग विद एवरीवन ऑल द टाइम. और अगर आपका मायोपिक व्यू पॉइंट है, ब्रॉड नहीं है, तो द नेशन विल सफर, द पब्लिक विल सफर. You will not be able to handle the problems which will be faced by the administrative system in such a time of change. अब कितनी किस्म की ट्रेनिंग्स होती हैं? एक मेन कैटेगरी बनती है प्री एंट्री ट्रेनिंग की. ये आप लोअर लेवल सिविल सर्वेंट्स को भी करा सकते हैं जो आमतौर पे वोकेशनल स्किल्स में आते हैं. This could include the person who's maintaining your office, or even a clerk perhaps. Pre-entry training का एक और जो एस्पेक्ट है वो है ओरिएंटेशन ट्रेनिंग. यानी एक छोटी सी ट्रेनिंग जो आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कर देती है उन कॉन्सेप्ट से और एनवायरनमेंट से जिसमें आपने काम करना है. यानी अगर आपने डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैनेजमेंट में काम करना है तो एक छोटी सी ट्रेनिंग जो आपको बता दे कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैनेजमेंट क्या होता है. आपको पता लग जाए कि रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड क्या होता है, पटवारी, तहसीलदार, कानून, इन सबका क्या काम है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर का क्या काम है और क्या क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज है, डेवलपमेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स क्या है, क्राइसिस आए तो वो कैसे मैनेज करना है, नेचुरल हैजर्ड्स को कैसे मैनेज करना है. और इंडक्शन ट्रेनिंग इससे ज़रा ज़्यादा एक्सटेंसिव होती है. इसमें डिटेल लर्निंग आ जाती है अबाउट द बेसिक्स ऑफ वर्क टू बी डन, विच आई मेंशन बिफोर. कि अगर आप एज अ पाकिस्तान एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर जा रहे हैं इन द फील्ड और आपकी फर्स्ट पोस्टिंग असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर या डीसीओ के दफ्तर में है, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि काम क्या क्या है, कुछ अंदाजा आपको होना चाहिए. सो दैट इज इंडक्शन ट्रेनिंग. दूसरी जो मेन कैटेगरी है वो है आप आ गए हैं सिविल सर्विस में, अपॉइंटमेंट हो गई, प्रोबेशन हो गई, कंफर्म हो गया, नाउ फ्रॉम you'll have post entry training. ये आमतौर पे हमारे सेटअप में रैंक वाला जो सिस्टम है, रैंक क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम है, it may not be directly related to the job, but it attempts to broaden the general ability of the employee. यानी अगर आप ऑडिट सर्विस में या फाइनेंस सर्विस में, तो आपको अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स की लेटेस्ट वर्जन के बारे में ये नहीं होगी ट्रेनिंग, बल्कि ये मैक्रो हो सकती है. इट माइट टॉक अबाउट फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस, इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंस क्राइसिस. It might talk about the latest trends in disbursement or approval of development loans by the World Bank. So ये directly related नहीं है, लेकिन आपका जो perspective है about financial management वो broaden हो रहा है. It may be about environment for that matter, concerns everyone. So you are broadening the general ability of the employees to appreciate and to integrate all these things when they think, analyze and make decisions. अच्छा, इसमें शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेनिंग भी हो सकते हैं. आमतौर पे शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेनिंग उसको कहा जाता है जहां आप 2-4-6 हफ्ते के लिए बाहर जाते हो या दफ्तर में ही रहते हो और आपको एक ट्रेनिंग करा दी जाती है. लंबी ट्रेनिंग जो होती है, it can be for a number of months and maybe up to 3 years. This may even include getting a degree from somewhere. Then there is this concept of departmental training, कि आप डिपार्टमेंट की वर्किंग को और अच्छी तरह समझो. आप हायर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज के लिए तैयार हो जाओ, आपको पता लगे कि हायर लेवल पे क्या काम करना पड़ता है. तो इस किस्म का एक्सपोजर देने के लिए विद इन द डिपार्टमेंट कुछ सीनियर अफसरान हो सकते हैं, बाहर से भी आ सकते हैं लोग फ्रॉम रिलेटेड डिपार्टमेंट्स. सो दे ट्रेन यू एंड एक्सपोज यू टू दीज एस्पेक्ट्स. इसमें आप स्किल्स और बैकग्राउंड ट्रेनिंग भी इसको इन ट्रेनिंग्स को कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि किसी हद तक आपको नई बैकग्राउंड दी जा रही है अबाउट थिंग्स. और स्किल ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में क्या होता है, एम्प्लॉय इज प्रोवाइडेड विद नॉलेज ऑफ पर्टिकुलर टेक्निक, मेथड, रूल्स, रेगुलेशंस. और बैकग्राउंड ट्रेनिंग जो है वो जनरल है, वो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक, पॉलिटिकल और एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स के बारे में. यानी एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में अगर कोई ट्रेनिंग होगी तो उसको हम बैकग्राउंड ट्रेनिंग कहेंगे. अगर प्रेजेंट स्टेटस ऑफ द इकोनॉमी को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं ट्रेनिंग में, दैट इज अ बैकग्राउंड ट्रेनिंग. लेकिन अगर आपको रूल्स ऑफ बिजनेस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट की ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, या आपको प्रोक्योरमेंट रूल्स की, आपने चीजें परचेज कैसे करनी है, क्या तरीकाकार है, कैसे एडवर्टाइज करना है, नहीं एडवर्टाइज करना है, किस अमाउंट तक किस तरीके से आपने परचेज करना है, बिड प्रपोजल किस किस्म का प्रिपेयर कैसे एग्जामिन करना है, सिंगल बिड, सिंगल एनवेलोप, डबल एनवेलोप प्रोसीजर फॉलो करना है. ये परचेज ट्रेनिंग, ये प्रोक्योरमेंट ट्रेनिंग जो होगी, दैट वुड बी अ स्किल्स ट्रेनिंग. फिर इन सर्विस ट्रेनिंग का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसमें कुछ किस्म की ट्रेनिंग्स आ जाती हैं. एक है वेस्ट्यूबल ट्रेनिंग. दिस इज जनरली अ शॉर्ट टर्म वन. आपको कुछ लेक्चर्स लिए जाते हैं फिर आपको एक चक्कर लगवाया जाता है, यू गो टू डिफरेंट साइट्स टू एग्जामिन थिंग्स और गो टू डिफरेंट ऑफिसेस टू एग्जामिन थिंग्स. इंस्पेक्शन ट्रिप आप उसको कह सकते हैं, देन यू मेक योर रिपोर्ट्स एंड ऑल दैट. सो दिस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड वेस्टिबल ट्रेनिंग. अ सर्कुलर ट्रेनिंग, इसमें यह है कि आपको कुछ अरसे के लिए उसी महकमे के जिससे आपका ताल्लुक है डिफरेंट विंग्स में काम करने दिया जाता है या अटैच कर दिया जाता है और कुछ असाइनमेंट्स दे दी जाती हैं, सो दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड फर्स्ट हैंड एंड बाय डूइंग इट द वर्किंग ऑफ दैट डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ योर्स. दिस इज कॉल्ड सर्कुलर ट्रेनिंग. एक और तरीका जो ट्रेनिंग का तरीका तो नहीं, नाम जो है रिफ्रेशर ट्रेनिंग. यानी आप कोई चीज जानते हैं, कोई काम कर रहे हैं, टेक्निक है, रूल्स है, प्रोसीजर्स है, स्टेग्नेशन आ जाती है काम करते करते. सो टू रिफ्रेश योर माइंड, टू अपडेट योर नॉलेज टू सम एक्सटेंट, बिकॉज कुछ ना कुछ तो नॉलेज का फर्क पड़ा होगा बाय देन, यू आर गिवन अ रिफ्रेशर ट्रेनिंग. फिर रीट्रेनिंग. इसमें दो किस्म की हो सकती हैं, या तो वही फील्ड जिसमें आप काम कर रहे हैं उसकी ट्रेनिंग, कोई नई चीज आ गई है वो, या जो आप पहले ही कर रहे हैं वो अच्छे तरीके से आप कैसे कर सकते हैं, रीट्रेन किया जा रहा. या इट मे बी इन अ न्यू फील्ड. वो कैसे? मे बी योर जॉब टाइप, क्वालिटी, कंटेंट इज गोइंग टू चेंज. तो जब आपका जॉब कंटेंट चेंज होगा, नेचर ऑफ योर जॉब माइट चेंज स्लाइटली ड्यू टू टेक्नोलॉजी और व्हाटसोएवर. So you don't want to lose your job. You will be retrained for that new opportunity. But it is a similar kind of job you will be doing. अब ट्रेनिंग टेक्निक्स क्या है? लेक्चर मेथड, वी ऑल नो अबाउट इट. जैसे यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ते हैं, उस्ताद आके लेक्चर दे देता है, कुछ लोग सोए हुए होते हैं, कुछ लोग मैसेजेस कर रहे होते हैं, कुछ लोग जोक कर रहे होते हैं, कुछ लोग स्माइल कर रहे होते हैं, शायद कुछ सुन भी रहे हो. सो दैट्स द लेक्चर मेथड, वेरी बोरिंग. सिंडिकेट मेथड, इसमें यू मेक ग्रुप्स, दैट्स कॉल्ड अ सिंडिकेट, ऑन सम इशू. इट कुड बी एन इशू ऑफ नेशनल importance. So they do a research, come up with a conclusion or a presentation and make a presentation. This would generally be a small size group. In fact, this type of training originated in the UK at their administrative staff college on Henley way back, and has since then been used by the administrative staff colleges in Pakistan and India to date. The case method, this is where a real life case which has been written down by a case writer is presented to you, and you study it, and then you critically analyze it, and then the group gets together and there is a prolonged discussion. Now, to improve your decision-making skills, there is this incidence methods training, which is similar to the case method somehow, but involves a lot of decision-making. Role play. You are supposed to imagine, or you are put in a situation where you think that you are a particular officer or doing a particular kind of work. So how do you do it? And others would assess it. Your peers, the other officers attending the training, are supposed to assess how you played that role. It may not be a single role, it may be a role play of a number of people at the same time. This is interesting. It is creative. It can be creative. Again, management games improve your decision-making styles and This is generally in the private sector, but also used in the public sector, where you have these situations coming up, where you have management problems, where the information can be limited. And then your decision-making styles and skills are tested and improved. And there is that group, the whole group, which is participating in the management game. By the whole group, I mean you subdivide the class into groups and they play management games. Sensitivity training, as the name suggests, it's got more to do with your attributes, your personal attributes, rather than the professional expertise. So this might aim at things like appreciating other people's problems, anger management, stress, dealing with stress, and stuff like that. Very important. We come now to the promotion part. The civil servant wants a promotion. That is why I joined the civil service. So what is promotion? Promotion refers to the movement of one employee from current position to a higher one. Simple. आप इस वक्त 17 ग्रेड में हो, आप 18 में जाना चाहते हो, फिर आप 19 से 20 में जाना चाहते हो, and so on. Or, very important, a badly designed promotion system can harm an organization. It can ruin an organization, I would say. इतनी bickering हो जाएगी, इतनी frustration हो जाएगी that the objectives shall not be met. You will never be able to serve the public. Even in the private sector, a successful organization always has a very well-designed promotion system. Now, what are the components of a promotion system? It might involve a change of position, where you leave one position and move on to another higher one. A change of duties or work. You may be assigned high-level duties or a different nature of work, which is supposed to be more difficult. Change of responsibility. You are expected to become more responsible. And you feel, yeah, I've been entrusted with additional responsibilities. Or the level of responsibility may go up. Change of title. पहले आपको डिप्टी सेक्रेटरी कहते थे, अब आपको जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी कह रहे हैं. पहले आपको असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर कहते थे, अब आपको एडिशनल डायरेक्टर कह रहे हैं. पहले आपको डायरेक्टर कहते थे, अब आपको डायरेक्टर जनरल कह रहे हैं. So change of title, change of pay. Naturally, जब आप हायर लेवल पे जाएंगे, प्रमोशन होगी, तो कुछ ना कुछ पे तो इंक्रीज होनी चाहिए. Then the promotion, very important, sometimes we overlook this, from lower to higher grade, class or service. This could happen within the same organization. Or you may go to another organization. For example, you might come to a higher level with change of service. You might come from the provincial service in Pakistan to the federal service in Pakistan. There is a quota. So this would constitute promotion. Now, what are the principles of promotion? These include this seniority principle. Seniority refers to duration of service. The employees with longer duration of service gets promoted. Very simple. अगर आपकी 10 साल सर्विस है, दूसरे की 9 साल है, पहले आप प्रमोट होंगे. Seniority principle. आपके बाल ज्यादा सफेद हो गए या आपके बाल ज्यादा गिर गए, you're senior. So, if I have put in more years at a particular post than if you have worked for lesser years, I shall, should, and will be promoted. This is the principle of seniority. Merit principle is not all that straightforward, although something that this is where what makes the difference between efficient and inefficient organization. If a merit principle is being followed, the organization is going to be definitely more efficient. And what is that? This implies promotion of the most meritorious employee. Merit may be determined by, number one, personal judgment of the head, by a promotional examination, or by an efficiency rating system, which means that there are set procedures for testing your efficiency vis-a-vis promotion. Or you may be given an examination, again, a set procedure. And then not that scientific a procedure, personal judgment of the head of the department where you're working, or your supervisor, or the competent authority. And then the third merit, since both the above merits, both the above systems have the merits and demerits, the third merit tries to capture both together. Seniority cum merit, which we call seniority cum fitness in Pakistan. This principle provides that promotions be determined on the basis of length of service as well as qualifications and achievement of the employees. So you will also give a weightage to the seniority and a weightage to how you perform, to your efficiency, to achievement when you are being considered for promotion. What are the essentials of sound promotion practices? Number one, adoption of standard specifications pertaining to duties, qualifications for all promotions in the government. That's clear. You should know exactly the requirements for promotion vis-a-vis duties, qualifications, etc., length of service. Classification of positions into distinct classes, grades and services. There should be a classification of positions, that this is grade 17, this is grade 18, this is grade 20, and who can be promoted to what. The higher administrative positions should be included, because that is where bickering can be. If the highest administrator comes from outside, the morale of the whole organization may go down. Adoption of principle of recruitment from within. This is what I've said before, because that will foster motivation. It will motivate people to work harder so that they can head the organization. Adoption of principle of merit in determining promotions. हमने सीनियोरिटी की बात की, मेरिट की भी बात की, मेरिट कम फिटनेस या मेरिट कम सीनियोरिटी की बात की. सीनियरिटी कम, फिटनेस की बात की। साउंड प्रमोशन प्रैक्टिस में ये ख्याल किया जाता है, इट इज द मेरिट विच काउंट्स, प्रमोशन शुड बी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ मेरिट। और फिर आप डिटर्मिन कैसे करेंगे कि ये 4, 5, 8 लोग प्रमोशन डिजर्व कर रहे हैं, इनमें से हु इज द बेस्ट? देयर शुड बी अ सिस्टम फॉर डिटर्मिनिंग whether it be the merit system, but then the merit system has to be very, very systematically based. Let us have a look at the systems of recruitment in vogue. There are two main systems, the expertise system and the lateral entry system. Under the expertise system, the government recruits persons with specific qualifications and technical expertise in which a long range of age can be accommodated from 18 to 45 years. This facilitates mobility between government and private sector, but this is quite popular in USA, as we said, but it cannot meet the requirements or the compulsions of the career civil service system, which is prevalent in our country and many others, including the UK and in India. So expertise system, or which is based on position classification, is one system which is quite popular. And as opposed to this expertise system, we have a lateral entry system. In this, a certain percentage of recruitment as senior civil servants is made externally through competitive selection without affecting promotion chances of insiders. So we had the merit system, we have the expertise system, and then we have the lateral entry system. In the lateral entry system, कुछ लोग 5-10% सिविल सर्विस की स्ट्रेंथ के आप इंडक्ट करते हैं एज सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट, सीनियर लेवल्स पर, लेकिन कंपेटिटिव इम्तिहान लेकर, और ये ख्याल रखते हुए कि जो लोग पहले ही काम कर रहे हैं उस अदारे में एंड आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू प्रमोशन, उनके चांसेस जो हैं बहुत ज़्यादा नेगेटिवली ना इम्पैक्ट हों, अदरवाइज ये काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव हो जाएगा, वो लोग काम करना कम कर देंगे, मोरल गिर जाएगा, बिकरिंग शुरू हो जाएगी। हमारे यहाँ भी ये सिस्टम प्रैक्टिस हुआ है भुट्टो रिजीम में, way back in the early 70s. But unfortunately, proper competitive selection नहीं होती, कोई structural, कोई structure नहीं बनाया जाता, कोई design नहीं system किया जाता competitive selection का in our country when lateral entries are made. And most of the time, lateral entries do produce bickering amongst the regular civil servants. So the merit of this system is that you're bringing in fresh blood, new expertise, perhaps very, very technical people, very knowledgeable about the changes in technology into the system. So while practicing the system, you have to be very careful to balance the pros and cons of the system. So as usual, we will summarize all the discussion we had in today's lesson. We talked about recruitment systems in detail because the quality of the human resource, we said, is what makes or breaks an organization. And in this case, the administrative system on which the whole country depends. There are two types of training we looked at, direct and indirect. Two types of recruitment systems we looked at, direct and indirect. Direct being more important because that is when you are taking fresh graduates from a big pool of population, the whole country, through a competitive exam to man posts in the administrative system. Whereas in the indirect method of recruitment, it is from within that lower level employees are being promoted to higher levels where they have to deal with higher responsibilities and duties. We saw that the direct merit system of recruitment provided a lot of advantages, and that countries had evolved sound policies to implement them. Right from the beginning, when you are calling for applications, on to the various tests, written and oral and others, followed by selection and communication to a post to the various departments. After communication of posts by the various departments, and then the competent authority preparing a list of the eligible candidates who then get appointed on probation, and on confirmation of probation they get the permanent appointment. We also saw that training was a very important component of the human resource setup in the public sector. Because for promotion to higher posts, trainings nowadays are a must. Trainings can be of many types. The pre-service training, which you take before service. For certain posts, that can be an induction training or an orientation training, which acquaint you with the environment of the job or the department you are going into. The induction training goes a little further than the orientation training by including familiarization with actual working of the department. In case of in-service training, it is generally of a much higher and generalized nature, exposing you to the latest technologies or the socio-economic aspects and environmental aspects. However, these in-service trainings may also be skills or jobs or practice or rules oriented, especially in case of retraining, where the nature of the job you are expected to hold may have changed substantially, or the job you are working at needs that your skills be refreshed in a newer mode. Such trainings are quite common. Then there are trainings for much higher posts which you may hold, like the trainings carried out by the Pakistan Administrative Staff College or the National Institutes of Public Administration, which incorporate methods like case studies, management games, which hone your skills of decision making and also upgrade your overall knowledge. These trainings, these in-service trainings are essential to ensure that the quality of the human resource in the administrative system is becoming superior as it moves up the hierarchical ladder. We also know that promotions play an important part in the administrative setup, and every civil servant is looking towards promotions because that is an essential part of your career development. And some authorities feel that it is the promotion system, the soundness of the promotion system, which makes or breaks an organization, because it can breed demotivation, stagnation, bickering, infighting, jealousy. Under such conditions, we saw that there are certain sound principles which have to be followed while designing a promotion system. And administering a promotion system is not easy either. Promotion can be based either on the judgment of the superior officer or a number of evaluation and tests. But whatever the practice, it should be transparent and very well documented, because no one in this process should feel that they have been left out, not given a proper chance, or due to political or personal favoritism, they have been overlooked. If this happens, then the fate of the whole organization is in the balance. So, proper recruitment, multifarious training, and a good, sound, transparent to all system of promotion are the vital factors in the success of any administrative organization. Thank you very much.